Well, the most obvious one that I mentioned a little bit ago is the trustee assigned to the case, or if you're the debtor in possession in a Chapter 11, you're going to have to undo that transfer, avoid the transfer. So whoever was the recipient of that transfer is not going to be pleased because that person is going to have a lawsuit on his or her hands and will have to disgorge the asset. And then within the context of Chapter 7, you become ineligible to get a discharge. This is something that's a bit of a shock to people, but there are folks that filed their Chapter 7s and they sought to get a discharge, and nope, they didn't get a discharge because they engaged in fraudulent transfers. There's an interesting Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals case from some years ago in which the case is called In Re Adeeb. In Adeeb, the debtor consulted with an attorney who, well, was not the best. And that attorney suggested that Mr. Adeeb do a bunch of fraudulent transfers in preparation for bankruptcy. Prior to filing the petition, Mr. Adeeb then contacted another attorney who said, "You've done a terrible thing. Let's undo those transfers." So he worked assiduously to undo those transfers. Then he filed his petition. Well, the U.S. Trustee's Office filed an action to bar discharge based on the fact that Mr. Adeeb had done these fraudulent transfers. And he said, well, wait a minute now, I undid them. So whatever the effect of those fraudulent transfers was is no longer germane to my case. And it bubbled up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and the Ninth Circuit said Mr. Adeeb is correct. He acted in good faith. He undid the terrible advice he'd received from his first attorney, and so he did get his discharge. But keep in mind, if you do those fraudulent transfers and one of those transfers involves your home, then when you undo the transfer, you have just shrunk to a great extent the equity exemption that you would have been entitled to. So generally speaking, I can't say this enough, don't do fraudulent transfers.